So, any discussion about physical activity and any discussion about the aging process are both going to have to cover a similar problem all the time. The wear and tear, the aches and pains, the nuisance and deterioration of quality of life that comes with joint problems. Of course, the older an individual is, the more likely it is that they suffer from arthritis. But paradoxically, one of the most important things that keeps us young also ends up being a risk factor for the development of this very common health issue. So once again, Immunotec takes the question head on: what natural products can I take to deal with arthritis? Well, before we get onto the solutions, let's get a better understanding of the problem. Here we see a knee joint, one of the most frequently seen places that arthritis takes place. We see a number of structures in the joint, most of which are made up of either bone or cartilage or ligaments. Well, it's the bone and the cartilage that are the biggest victims here. The cartilage does the job of providing both cushions between the articulating bones and to give a smooth surface between the bones so they slip smoothly open and close. Now, just imagine how much damage there would be without these cushion and pads. The bones would rub directly against each other and wear out really quickly, not to mention the pain. Well, this is exactly what happens with arthritis. The cartilage erodes, it breaks down, and the movement between the bones is no longer smooth. You get bone on bone friction, and eventually both the cartilage and the bone can suffer great damage. So, why should you take Contralenta? Well, the first main group of people is pretty simple and are the ones that are most willing to start the strategy, and that's those who are already suffering. Now, pain is a great motivator, believe me. So people who have pain are going to be motivated to take this product. And the second main group are those who understand the importance of fitness, but want to avoid as best as they can the potential side effects, so to speak, of physical exercise. You look at professional athletes who clearly have put their bodies through much more than what's reasonable, and one of the biggest complaints in their older years surrounds their arthritis. In the most severe cases, uh, joint replacement surgery is very effective, but you don't want to have to go there. Now we get into some of the best-selling drugs in the world, anti-inflammatories. I tell you, these work great, but side effects like gastritis or ulcers are so common that many people won't or can't take them. Is there a safer alternative? The answer is clearly yes. It's not just as simple as asking, are there natural substances that are used for arthritis? The question needs to be, are there natural substances that actually work for arthritis? And this, of course, can only be answered by looking at the science and the research. Now, here are the 6 major active ingredients that are found in Contralenta. Some of them you may have heard of, some of them you may never have seen before. Now, each one of these contributes something different to the well-being of your joints and articulations. Glucosamine, chondroitin, MSN, boswellia, devil's claw, and boron. Let's look at these in turn. Glucosamine has been increasing in popularity both in the natural products category, but even more interestingly, in the amount of clinical research that's being done to study it. You can access a whopping 25,500 articles on PubMed if you're feeling bored. Glucosamine is naturally found in our bodies, but for supplementation, we often get it from animals like shellfish. Glucosamine is one of the main building blocks of cartilage. So it is direct nutrition for building up and repairing this tissue. Chondroitin is also naturally found in our bodies, mostly in our connective tissue like cartilage. It's involved with a number of other molecules that build and repair cartilage, like glucosamine, which we mentioned earlier, as well as other connective components like collagen and hyaluronic acid. Again, look at the tremendous amount of research that's been performed on chondroitin, almost 24,000 articles. Of interesting note, sharks, which are constructed mostly out of cartilage and not bone, have been used commonly in the past as a source of chondroitin. MSM, which is the acronym for methylsulfonylmethane, is an effective way to get sulfur to your joints, critical for their structure. It can be found both in plants and animals. Here in this picture, you see the plant called horsetail, which is loaded with MSM. Besides being a component of bone, MSM acts as an anti-inflammatory as well, helping with those aches and pains. Boswellia has long been used in herbal and traditional medicine to take care of joint pain, but of course, this needed to be verified with actual scientific studies, of which there are almost 1,000 articles. And as it turns out, this plant also provides anti-inflammatory characteristics that can bring down pain and swelling. Similar story with devil's claw. It too has anti-inflammatory and analgesic properties. There are so many different substances that can cause or lead to inflammation. It's helpful to block these pathways at different points as the positive effects are additive. Now take a look at this picture. You can see that devil's claw is a perfect name for this plant. Finally, the mineral boron. This has been thoroughly studied for the role it plays in bone physiology, as evidenced by the over 1,000 articles on PubMed. It's critical when we look at the role of the most important bone mineral, calcium. So boron helps calcium to integrate into bone structure. So 6 separate ingredients, all acting to improve our daily lives. If asked, what does this combination of products do? Here are 3 key points. Number one, it supports healthy joints for mobility and flexibility. This is the case whether you have a problem or not, and much be better to avoid problems. So this is certainly prophylaxis. Number two, Contralenta seems to be most popular for folks that are already suffering. Okay, now you have a problem. So, how to feel better? That's the point here. It helps relieve joint pain. And number three, and this is the most important, but most difficult to get people to do, be proactive. Take care of a problem before it happens. You want to protect yourself for the future, and you certainly don't want to slow down your physical activity. If this appeals to you, Contralenta should be part of your routine. And as expected, you're going to get the best from Immunotec. Quality, appropriate doses, and everything else you need to be secure that you're investing in the best products.